Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our Fuel Arts webinars, where we blend creativity, technology, and venture capital together, all the three parts of creative tech. I'm Denis Belkovich, the co-founder and general partner at Fuel Arts, and joining me today is Olena Yara, our head of digital marketing. Hi, Olena. Thanks for sharing
Hi,
this morning stream.
thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure having you in our team and here as a co-host today. So today we're excited to continue this Swiss webinar series dedicated to the dynamic Swiss creative tech ecosystem and its enablers. So you will have the opportunity to learn more about Switzerland through its entrepreneurs and investors. I should mention that this series is made possible thanks to the partnership between Fuel Arts and the Zurich Center for Creative Economies at the Zurich University of the Arts. You can watch our the recording of our previous webinar with the director of the Zurich Center for Creative Economies, Professor Christoph Weckerli. But today we have another guests, and we'll be happy to present them in a minute, but I should mention the first endeavor between Fuel Arts and Zurich Center for Creative Economies, which will be published in several weeks, the Swiss Creative Tech Startups Report 2024. So the report that will showcase the educational initiatives, venture support, partnership opportunities across all the 26 cantons of Switzerland. Yeah, you can see the Edelweiss here. So it will be a 100-page report. And yeah, when it comes to creative tech, one can enumerate quite a lot of segments. In fact, there are 13 segments of creative tech as we define it. Like advertisement, architecture, design, fashion, film, fine art and craft, gaming, hospitality and events, literature, media, music, performing arts, TV, and radio. And our today's guests, they are working in the intersection of several pillars, several segments of creative tech, like media tech, like probably TV and radio, because they are broadcasting, and also it's about art, so it could be also considered fine art and craft, and also hospitality and events. So at least four segments our today's guests are working with. So I'm happy to invite Jana Kalbermatter and Moser, the co-founders of Dojo, the Swiss startup pioneering in Internet of Things storytelling. Hi, Jana. Hi, Luis.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. Let me give a quick recap of your CVs. There is not that much that one can find about you online, but we know that together you bring the expertise in acoustics, industrial design. For instance, Jana is a trained industrial and UX designer and worked in particular in museums and at the Swiss Design Awards in Basel. And Luis is a trained acoustician, audio specialist with 10 years of experience in media architecture in iart studio for media architectures located in Basel. But now as co-founders, they present Dojo. So yeah, we're curious to know more about Dojo, but let's start with the background, because the Swiss webinar series are focusing on education, and the partners of Fuel Arts are also representing creative education in Switzerland. So you both received higher education in design and acoustics in Switzerland. So how would you describe the educational ecosystem in Switzerland, particularly in the arts, or better say creative sphere?
Yeah, it certainly feels like a niche field, of course. I wish more people had access to higher education personally, especially in the creative field. It can feel quite lonely. What certainly helps is to try to like mix the majors, get to know people who do other things, and kind of venture out from there.
Mm-hmm. And I can maybe add here, I mean, from my point of view, there are 6 major universities that offer art programs in Switzerland. And yeah, so clearly some are better than others in defining their brand and what they stand for. And I do really think that that's important, because ultimately the goal of these universities is to make us students or former students to have jobs afterwards. And I cannot speak so much for the fine art departments, but more for the creative jobs that are related to the economy, as design, fashion, and so on. It is rather difficult. I mean, in fashion, I know it that they warn you before starting your studies that only 1 in 10 has the chance of getting a job. It is much easier for graphic designers, maybe. And my program was product design, industrial design. We were somewhere in the middle, so not too bright future, but also possibilities. Of course, sometimes nice opportunities arise. Like, for example, a third of my class, when we graduated in 2017, they started at On Cloud Shoes, because this company was on the rise. And so I guess it's something that is fluid, that is changing. I'd say the opportunities are better than they were 5 years ago. Yeah.
Thank you. Before Olena asks her question, I should also express my gratitude on behalf of Fuel Arts. Yes, let's express our gratitude for taking participation in our survey for the report, for the Swiss report. So you were one of the first who replied to this survey, and I should admit that we noticed you, since your questions, your particular your replies to our questions were quite interesting, and expressed your own vision, which stands on knowledge, not on assumptions. So that's what we liked from you. Yes, Olena.
Yeah,
Thanks
thank you
much,
so
guys.
much for sharing your personal journey experience. And so Danny showed me your startup, and I've been actually looking through your website. I really enjoyed the design itself. It's super simple, easy to carry around. So I want you to ask, can you please elaborate more on your business model, on the mission of Dojo, and just tell our audience what is Dojo?
Yeah, absolutely. We brought some slides with us. Maybe we can display them. Great. Perfect. Yeah, we can jump right in to the next slide. Exactly. So, and maybe one more. Oh no, one back. The mission at Dojo is very simply put, to reach exhibitors. So these are all businesses that are making sure we can enjoy exhibitions, to reach them and make them look good ultimately on an economical, but also, of course, on a design level. And the people, the visitors that are going to these exhibitions, to have them have a great time and ultimately also focus on the things they experience.
Absolutely, I think it's a great intro, Jana. The product, you can see it on this slide. You could also see it on the last slide. It's a stick that's used in exhibitions. That's the hardware part of it. There's also a software part of it. The reason why there is a hardware, again, after a lot of attempts with cell phone, smartphone applications in the field of exhibitions, a strong screen fatigue was starting to show, and also very low conversion rate for these QR code storytelling approaches. So we decided to come up with a purpose-built piece of hardware that's there, really built for the task. What does that mean? It's a super reduced user interface. So you basically have no screen to ever distract you. You're not wearing any headphones.
Sorry, maybe on the next slide you can see, a better picture of it.
Thanks. Yeah, there's really just 2 buttons, yet you're able to consume content-based from the location where you are in an exhibition, for example, or in a showroom. It is proven that people really enjoy this simplistic approach. In the first deployments we've had, it was in the retail, but also in art galleries and so forth. Just to be able to not be distracted, but also not be too much encapsulated. Oftentimes you're not alone in an exhibition. You're also maybe want to talk to somebody, or you have a special feeling from the room or from a soundscape. And yeah, all of that is kind of possible by reducing a lot. And that's the hardware part of it. And then there is a software part of it that enables, of course, the transportation or conveying of the content. And there we benefit also from a lot of new tools that we're acquiring knowledge. So it started off just as basic management of audio content and distributing across the location, but now we're able to do artificial intelligence, text-to-speech applications, and on the roadmap somewhere in the future, of course, also things like adaptive content and so forth.
Thank you. You've mentioned hardware and software. I would add the third dimension of dojo as we see it, the tactile. So I would split dojo into software, hardware, and tactile element, because especially since 2022, the Web3 community has increasingly been drawn to phygital experiences, and in our opinion, dojo is a perfect example of phygital product. Everyone is considering, trying to foresee what will be the next big thing after iPhone. Maybe the Apple Vision, Apple Vision, maybe Wow Cube. But why not a stick, an audio stick? So my question is, how did you come to combine technology with tactile experiences? And was the tactile component intentionally added, or you just presumed it from the very beginning?
Mm-hmm.
Did you want
Should
to
I
go
take?
first?
Yeah, sure. Maybe I have to take you back a couple of years to really let you experience how the design came to be the way it is. Because my background used to be working as a graphic designer, but in an architectural environment where we were planning a lot on how campuses or buildings are being used, and signs are being put up. And when starting on Dojo, this was actually the initial questions where we asked ourselves, so how can a building communicate to its visitors? And of course, first things that comes to mind is on the visual level. But then again, visually, we already have so much to do, we're identifying objects, places, humans, navigating ourselves. We need our eyes for all of this. But then we have all our senses that we bring with us. And especially when walking through a place and building. And that's when we decided we want to actually distribute the experience, so to speak, on the other senses as well. So that's when tactile came to mind, but also oral, sensations as well, meaning audio. And both of these technologies are actually very tactile. So first thing is that we work a lot with vibration. So our hand device does react to specific environments or points of interest, and then through a vibration gives the user a signal of, okay, information is available at this spot now. And then you're able to press play and release the audio, so to speak. That's on one hand. And then on the other hand, the audio sensation itself is through a special technology that where we're doing a bit of pioneering work, especially in that vertical for museums. So we implemented bone conduction as our audio technology, which means that the sound is translated through vibrations instead of waves that go through the air. And this can be experienced as a very light tickling experience, but at the same time, one can perceive very high quality audio, and which is transmitted through the skull. And like this, your ears remain open and gives yet another dimension to this experience. So yeah, as product designers, of course, the tactile is an important topic to us.
Yeah, thank you, Jana. We're looking forward to try your sticks during our next visit to Basel, hopefully this June, when we'll be presenting our Swiss Creative Tech report. Yes, Olena, yours turn.
Yeah, and I had some additional questions in my mind. So basically, I'm curious on how it works in terms of location. Itself has a locator inside, so when are kind of nearby the spots.
Yeah, I mean, it's all about technology. So as soon as Olena is not using dojo, so the connection might be not that stable.
Now, is it better now?
We can hear you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
During our
okay.
last webinar, we had a cat, and behind the curtains, and now we have a dog behind the curtains. So it's a Fuel Arts pet shop. Welcome to the Fuel Arts pet shop.
I have two dogs. I have a lot of audio going on right now too. So I was wondering, basically, does the device itself has a you are like nearby the location, the audio starts popping out and proposing like this audio experience to you in terms of navigation, how it works exactly?
Okay. Still, we're breaking up a couple of times. I'm just gonna try to explain it, and maybe you can say if it was all if your question was answered. So you're holding the stick in your hand, or it's on a lanyard around your neck, and you're basically roaming an exhibition or a space. Could be of very different kinds of nature. It could be a park where things are spread really far apart. You could be also in quite a small showroom, for example. No matter where you are, though, what you will experience is, depending on where you are, the stick will react, right? And that's, I think, the technology, also localization technology you were referring to. So we're happy to work with an ultra precise positioning system indoors, where you will be notified that content is available, and that's a specific choice we made, that you then get to choose if you want to play the audio or not. And if you do, you press play, but you're also free to continue walking, so the audio will still play. That's based on this location, also if you walk away from it. I don't know if that answers your question.
Yeah, exactly. It answers it. Thank you so much. And so also you are partnering, collaborating with certain museums, galleries, art institutions. Can you tell us a little bit on some of the institutions you already onboarded that already support Dojo?
Yeah, so From the very beginning, we're partnering with the Museum für Kommunikation, so the Communications Museum in Bern. They're a very innovative museum that is open to new technologies as well as archiving very old technologies. So that's a good fit. We did our first pilot there, and we'll do a fixed deployment from this summer on. Other than that, we had deployments in art galleries and also in the Kunsthalle Basel, where during a 2 months exhibition, people were able to experience dojo, and further deployments are ahead.
Beautiful.
Great.
Thank you so much.
My colleagues say that your deck we are showing now, it also contains the further slides with your upcoming milestones, including fundraising opportunities. So what will be your next milestones with dojo and expectations in terms of like go-to-market strategy? You have partly replied to this question, and fundraising. So what you are expecting from investors right now?
Yeah, maybe we can skip a couple of slides to answer that visually as well.
Skip, yeah.
Yeah, skip. And here we are.
Okay.
Should I cover this one?
Sure.
Yeah. So we are currently doing a seed round where we still have 200K open that we're raising right now. For us to achieve the producing of the next batch that is allowing us to cater to our customers. Some of them are already hard confirmed and are waiting for the product, so to say. And giving us the runway to continue on our journey. And maybe that's also the moment to mention. So there are already investors at Dojo Tech. They are believing in us very much. Also happy to join the current round. But what we're currently looking for, or would be very happy to achieve, is that so-called smart money. So investors that are also by heart invested in the topic of arts and exhibitions and are able to help us extend the network, make connections, and have a love for the topic.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you're on a good track, and even as soon as you already received 300K, and the next milestone, the next financing round, is planned in a year, in summer 2025. So you have plenty of time, but again, from our experience, you have to start the fundraising job once the next day after you received your first round. So even if it's in a year or even in 2 years, so the next day after the celebration of receiving the first round, so the next day you should start your fundraising campaign, which never ends. This is the traction of all the successful startups. But thank you for sharing this information. Thank you for being frank with us. I mean, honest with and transparent. Yes, we have another question. So Dojo is incorporated in Baselstadt, right? Among the 26 cantons, you've chosen your hometown. I mean, the hometown for Dojo. So, but of course, each canton has its own peculiarities. Zug is famous for Web3 activity and crypto activity. It's called the Swiss Silicon Valley. Zurich is the financial center. Lausanne and Geneva are considered to be the art and music festival, film and music festival centers. So how would you describe the startup environment in Basel? compared to other cantons? Because that's not only my curiosity. A lot of people, they're hesitating if life in Basel exists in between art Basels. For sure I know it does, because there are a lot of opportunities and startup hubs and accelerators and investment opportunities. But let's know about it from the first source, which is you guys.
Yeah, Basel is obviously big on the life science startup scenes. I mean, after all, some of the biggest pharmaceutical companies in the world are based in Basel. So we don't really fit in here. At the same time, obviously, there's a lot of very interesting projects going on and other startups. Zurich, as you mentioned, has more, I would say, traditional tech startups in a way. And the vast network we're obviously also profiting from. I think it's also good to kind of to work within the startup scene, but also kind of to look outside of the startup scene and to kind of combine these two worlds to truly create something new. Jana, do you want to add to this?
Yeah. I mean, it's not by coincidence that we, so to speak, stayed in Basel after our studies, because we saw potential for our product within the museums as a first vertical, being the low-hanging fruit, since museums want to communicate during their exhibition. So that's why we stayed here. It's a relatively small city packed with more than 40 museums, which is great for us. We could do early on testings, market research very extensively, and also piloting. And this allowed us, which is, I think, very important for young companies, to build these important relationships where, you have a basis of trust. And so that's why I would argue that there's no life between Art Basel. Art Basel is those very special days next to the carnival days. But there are a lot of initiatives. In terms of opportunities for startups, as Louis said, there is the life science vertical that is a lot more supported and subsidied than other initiatives. Yet we were discovered by a small accelerator, or an initiative called the Startup Academy, which we're very grateful for, because we were just talking to people with a bare product concept, and they picked us up and enlightened us to the idea of actually funding a company and what this would mean. And so that's how actually our story began. And up until this day, we can feel their support by many means. So that's why we're grateful for. And then one by one, you find the others too. Let's say University of Basel also is strongly investing in their innovation department. Also there we're in touch and feeling their support. And nothing harms us to just get on the train. It's 1 hour away from here to Zurich, some more hours to Lausanne, and we frequently use that also as soon as we see an opportunity to get in touch with other people and events. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you so much for covering it. Dennis, you wanted to say something, right?
Yes. I sometimes I want to say something and interrupt everyone. I just want to mention, Louis, getting back to what you've said, that currently, like, dojo doesn't have any intersection, unfortunately, with the med tech, or better say, with the medical industry. It just came to my mind the name and the example of the first Swiss unicorn, which is called Mind Maze. Yes, who combined med tech and also 3D and virtual reality, augmented reality, so they could be considered as the first, not only as the first Swiss unicorn, but also as the first, the first Swiss unicorn of the new generation. Not the glass breakers, but also the first example of successful cooperation, successful merging of the two ecosystems, creative tech and med tech. So I just felt myself like, okay, when I, for instance, if something pains, I can use your stick and it gives me a prescription. I just tell him, or use it as a psychological relief. I can tell him as to the best friend what happens to me, because he will not betray me. I believe so. People always believe, but yeah, it looks quite reliable in terms of not sharing the information. But yeah, you could use it for psychological help, or for prescriptions, or for some you know what sanctuary means, yeah, on the sacral level. So something you can share only with your psychologist, with your doctor, and with your plumber, dentist, gardener. Yeah. So yeah, it could be your psychologist, or a plumber. Yeah, you can.
Shrink in a stick.
Yeah. Great. So,
we will definitely look into that.
don't consider that to be online mentorship.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just sharing our ideas. Sorry, Olena. Yeah, your turn to ask the question.
No, actually, I really enjoyed the dialogue. So yeah, um, I wanted to ask like a little bit broader question on the Swiss creative tech sector. If you can tell us what are the areas that needs improvement. Based on what you said, there are a lot of ways Swiss creative economy actually supports founders in this creative sector. But where do you see like gaps and how they can be improved in your opinion?
One more addition. You can use the words and you can use the vision that you expressed while replying to our survey, but I beg you to. I'm asking you to give a lighter version of your opinion.
A brighter version.
Lighter, less expressive.
Maybe because I filled it out, then I let Louis answer that one.
No, I'm joking. Do what you want. So
Sure.
we are fully transparent, because
No,
it's
I
your
feel like
opinion.
more knowledge transfer always helps. Certainly, it certainly needs to feel like it's worth it, right? And what I feel really drives change is independent investors who are really in a position to make their own decisions, and I think they have a great power to drive change.
Yeah, and I would just, if I had one wish for more initiatives, that stand up for these fields, because it just feels like we're underrepresented until that day. Whenever we want to join a startup meetup or a conference or whatsoever, and have to present the vertical we're in, there's rarely something as art or art tech that we can identify ourselves with. We always have to, go lean into engineering or ed tech or so on. And I'd love for this to be different in the future, because I believe in great products that do have a market, and the right to exist. But it's through programs and initiatives that this field also receives visibility, and ultimately it can also make the conversations more easy for startups with investors, then because you feel backed up and not defending a niche market on your own. So yeah.
Yeah, thank you. That's a very wise saying, and we'll do our best. Fuel Arts and the Zurich Center for Creative Economies to fulfill your expectations, because we're now working on several academic articles, and partly some of them will be included into the report, which will define, which will straight define what is creative tech and how the startups should feel themselves, should be proud of themselves, and should identify themselves. Because we all know that the more exact the definition is, the more exact you can show like yourself on the map of the startup ecosystem, the more reliable your position is, the more sustainable you are in front of, yes, mentioned by you, investors and partners, and the market, the customers. They also love strict definitions. Lena, or was it my turn? Oh yeah, that's my term, and we came up to the last question. So as soon as you're the startuppers, and you're quite successful startuppers because you have already raised money and you have tested your idea, you have your first customers. So consider everyone is looking at you at the moment. So what would be the like 3 essential pieces of advice that you give to aspiring entrepreneurs in Switzerland?
I would say try to simplify, invest in company culture, and take your weekends off.
Yes, we at Fuel Arts, we started with number 3 already. Regarding the corporate culture, we every Friday we have corporate culture meetings. Regarding the first one, simplify as much as possible. Could you please elaborate more? I mean, simplify what? What?
Like if you're going to go ahead and start a company, to a startup, build a product, like in all these tasks that lay in front of you, there is always a chance to do a lot in many ways, right? And I face that challenge daily, to just have to say, okay, how can I simplify this? What can I kind of take away from it for it to still work? And in the end of the day, it will benefit it. Does that maybe answer your question?
Yes, totally. You've answered not only answered the question, but also inspired the others, the audience. Thank you. I mean, thank you, Jana. Thank you, Luis. We should remind that today we had a conversation with Jana Kalbermatter and Luis Moser, the co-founders of Dojo, the future of storytelling, the future of phygital, the future of Internet of Things, and the future of Swiss creative tech, as we believe. Because you're young, your initiative, you are quite wise for your age, and you have successful traction. We have one question from the audience. Yes, glad to be here and listening to the experience of Jana and Luis regarding being in the lone lane in terms of being in the creative tech. I believe this initiative webinar, yes, as well as stakeholder, go away in understanding the limitless opportunities. Thank you, Olu. Thank you, Olu. We thought that would be a question towards Jana and Luis, but we are happy to share your attitude with them, because it's our joint contribution to the creative tech and to the mood of our guests. Thank you again. Thank you, Luis. Thank you, Jana. Lena, what would you like to add?
I would actually, sometimes I think that questions that we have for the webinar may not cover it all, and maybe Jana or you have something you want to share before we end the webinar, if that makes sense.
Do we have something to share?
Yeah, I mean, I want to say I appreciate what you guys are doing. I'm really excited also for the report. I really appreciate all the energy that's going into it, and I want to say thank you also for the work you guys are doing from our side.
Yeah.
So much.
Let
Oh,
me add to that as well. Like I usually don't do service, but when Dennis approached me with the question regarding the creative tech field, I finally felt heard. Yeah.
thank you. I mean, I should say when the automatic mailbox approaches startups, it works not that well like when Dennis approaches himself or Olena or Daria or Jeff. Yes, yeah. Sometimes I mean, as soon as we care about the ecosystem, we are using personal approaches. And thank you again for taking part in that. Oh, yes. And now this is about you. I commend the passion of the founders and their unwavering commitment to their craft. My 2 cents will be to enjoy the journey and see the impact they are making, even it's in little trickles. Yeah, consider you yourself to be noticed by a very well-known international best-selling author, enterprise development specialist, keynote speaker, storyteller, communication expert, Olu. Thank you, Olu.
Thank you so much.
Oh, okay. Okay, yes.
We're all blushing.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, everyone, and see you next week. Hopefully, during the next Art Basel, everyone will be using your sticks.
Thank you so much, guys.
Bye, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah,
Goodbye.
thank you. See you, everyone.